Welcome to the 11th anniversary show for One Nation Radio. My name is Richard Latta II. I'm here with James. We've been off for 2 weeks here. Some of you guys may know, some of you guys may not. A lot of people have reached out to me. I announced on Twitter September 10th, my father passed away at the age of 65. It was a sudden thing. It was nothing I was prepared for. He wasn't sick. It was just, something that you just never think is coming. James, you got to meet my dad one time. And this has, been really a difficult few weeks for me. Had to go to his house, which is like just one of the hardest things I've ever done. I did get to see him before we cremated him. We still have like memorial stuff to come, so I'll be getting on another plane again eventually. But I just want to say a few things about my dad and just stuff I've written down, and bear with me as I get through this. I'm gonna try to not get all choked up, but forgive me if I do. So here's some words about my father, Richard Latta. So my name is Richard Latta II. All my life, I've insisted that people address me as such because it's the way that I was named by my parents, Janet Rivera and the Richard Latta. I was not a junior. I was the second version of Richard Latta to come into this world. Richard Latta was a lot of things, and an original was one of them. He was one of the smoothest brothers that ever walked the planet. He had a view of the world and a level of magnetic charisma that could set anyone at ease. He was a mountain of wisdom, even as he's dealt with struggles in his life. I can't speak for anyone else, even my other siblings, but he always showed me his best, and he stressed to me that he saved his best for last, which was what he said to me. I spent so much of my life trying to impress him and live up to that lofty distinction. I didn't think I was superior to any of my siblings, but it was almost an unspoken thing because the words he did use and his actions, he was trying to tell me that we were different than other people. We were this secret club, him and I. We operated with decency, knowledge, and a sense of self. Maybe I was so doe-eyed for my father that his charm worked on me where it failed on others. Whether it was getting good grades, answering questions in front of him, from Jeopardy at an age that would be at a way younger age than would be expected, or reading the biggest books and articles I could find out loud to him from the age of 4 and beyond. Karate, basketball, later when I began rapping. I was determined to pay off his belief. For the people that do know him, they know that he had a lifelong detest of rap music. I'm proud to let everyone know that's listening to this that not only did I convert him into eventually liking and understanding hip hop, but he turned out to be one of my biggest fans. He would randomly write me that he had done a binge of my YouTube channel, and he was so impressed with my self-taught musicianship and music. I had done nothing but simply be born, and he treated me like I was Simba from The Lion King, as far as my memories go back. He was born March 7th, 1958. He was the youngest child of Robert Latta and June Wright. According to my Aunt Dawn, he was a child that always needed a little more, whether that was love, attention, or guidance. He graduated from William Munson Academy. I once looked through his yearbook and was shocked to see the number 35 on the basketball team with an enormous afro. 1, he never told me he played for the team. And 2, all that damn hair that he had. Considering that most of my life I razzed him about losing his hair and told him it would never happen to me. I thought it was the coolest thing at a young age that my dad was a police officer. I can imagine that it wasn't glamorous. At times he worked undercover, and he worked in the narcotics division and kept ungodly hours. I thank his partners for helping him return to our family safely in those early years. He wasn't just a cop. He was the cop, as humbly as I can say. He received several awards for a recognition for international drug cases that he reeled in. And I think I'll recognize the phrase "the Commonwealth versus Blake" until the end of my days. He was someone that was connected with everyone somewhere, somehow. He brought me to the Springfield Civic Center in Massachusetts countless times through back doors to watch the sport I fell in love with as a child, professional wrestling, for free by simply nodding his head at whoever was in charge of the doors. I thought that was the coolest thing. When I got older, I had many talks with him, and he was very proud of some of the cases that he brought in. And I explored my own thoughts on policing with him and was happy to say that he shared many of my feelings on the role of police, supported and understood the Black Lives Matter movement. He was a cop, but he was a black man first. He was married twice, once to my mom and once to my sister, Jasmine's mom, Yolanda. He also birthed other sons, my older brothers, Taryn and Derek, with Delania and Kim, respectively. Without dressing it up, he was a Rolling Stone. I met many of my dad's girlfriends over the years. He told me stories about every woman in his life before I got married, which I'll hold close to the vest. Special rest in peace goes out to Darlene for being the love of my dad's later life. He never quite got over losing her in 2014, much in the way he never got over his marriage to my mom, which changed all of our lives in numerous ways. His friends, Gregory, Donald, Stephen, and of course my Uncle Sterling, became my uncles. I respected them all for being successful black men coming up in the age they did. They were men in their times and they're men today. They had the type of friendship that I would recreate in my life with my aces, James, Josh, Jeremy, Alex, and Andre. I hung around them all together Father's Day weekend in 2016, and I felt like I was getting a glimpse into my own future. My father had a lot of personal struggles that he faced. For as much as he held his professional life together until he no longer could, he functioned for many years while battling demons that arose out of loss, depression, anxiety, and, like most people, not knowing how to deal with changing circumstances. I spent 3 days with him prior to my wedding, which functioned as the last major time I spent with him in 2020. Over those days, he was not only preparing me for my wedding by purchasing all the champagne I needed, but he dressed me, fed me, slept on my couch watching the show Girlfriends that he loved, and counseled me and hung out amongst my friends as one of the fellas, and even became my wedding photographer in a pinch. He took up photography in the last 10 or so years of his life, and he was always excited to share his photos on his Facebook page. He treated me like a grown man, but deep down, he always let me know that I was his little boy. I used to sleep on his chest, and he never let me forget it. I have a ring right now from him that was his. It's downstairs, but he purchased 2 of them for him and I. Even though it wasn't my style, I thanked him for the thought. I'm going to keep both of them now in his honor. He wasn't always around, and he missed many important moments of my life. However, he was never able to teach me how to fight. Instead, I had to learn from my friends and stepbrothers. I got upset at him not making my graduation, but I always uplifted him. I always loved the bond that we had to where time could pass and we just picked up. I had no interest in really holding him accountable because I thought that he was just making the best decisions with the circumstances that he had. I wish I could have had more of his guidance. I wish I could have spoken to him more. I last talked to him about 3 weeks before he died, and I used to do the video chats with him, and I took a lot of screenshots always, just cause or whatever, and I'm glad I took those. And I can go all day, but I think I said enough. Until we meet again, rest in peace to my father, Richard Latta. I'm the second, he's the first.
That was great, man. As you mentioned, I met him your bachelor party and like the days going into your wedding, and like it was interesting meeting him for the first time and to see finally meet him and then to see like okay, I see where Rich gets some stuff from, right? It was also interesting to see that like um he it was I thought it was funny how like easily and how easy he could get familiar and comfortable with people. So yeah, he was fun and he was very charismatic, as you mentioned. Yeah, definitely. And I was glad I was finally able to meet him. And then yeah, I always knew that you had a complicated relationship with your dad. And that's probably the reason why me and you bonded is like it's complicated as being abandoned when you're two, right? So um, I, being able to meet him and to see that like and to see more where you came from, I really enjoyed that, and like he was a blast to be around for the time that we had, and like your bachelor party was fun, and there's stuff that I'll say that I won't say that I told you about as far as like around the time you getting married and involve your dad that was just outlandish, but like I said, like he got comfortable quick, and I'll always remember that. In rest in peace to Richard Derrick Latta the first.
Love you, Dad.
So um I guess we'll take a break or whatever else on the podcast, and we'll start back up again. Like I don't know if you want to play something or whatever else, but I'll press pause on the recording and
Yeah.
everything, and then we'll
Give me a
come back.
second. I'm gonna go get some water real quick.
Okay.